This is the first piece of, a tiny little piece, obviously, of carving that I bought from a carver named Charles Joseph, or Boone, who's part of the Kwakwaka'wakw people, whose group, whose tribe, I suppose, or whose nation I am now an honorary member of. It was the start of a long relationship. I bought another small mask at the same time, but I told Charles, I met him in Vancouver Island at a craft fair, and what he was doing was far more remarkable than mere craft. And we talked for quite a while, about an hour. He told me about his background, which was pretty rough. He was a residential school survivor and had been brutalized very badly as a child. And anyways, he kind of found his way back to earth by returning to his tradition, which he had been taught quite in depth by his grandparents, who were native language speakers like him, but who were also part of the unbroken tradition of this people, which could conceivably go back 14,000 years. They have a very advanced artistic tradition, and it's a unified tradition, so all the carvings, the masks, have songs and dances that go along with them, and a mythology. So I told Charles that if he sent me a carving every 4 or 5 months, I'd pay him what he thought it was worth, and we could try that for a while. And we did that for a number of years, and then he came out here. I had a dream vision, I suppose, of these North American Pacific Coast native deities coming across the Rocky Mountains in the clouds out to eastern Canada. So I phoned him up and told him about that vision and invited him out here. He'd never been east of Calgary, which is like 2,500 miles west of here. And I don't think he'd ever flown at that point, though that might be wrong, but I think that's true. Anyways, he came out here and spent 3 or 4 days with me, stayed at the bed and breakfast, and we had a pretty good time, and I introduced him to a wealthy friend of mine who ended up commissioning a 53-foot totem pole from him, which is a whopping totem pole. It's about 6 feet across at the base, and also a 40-foot canoe. And the totem pole and a bunch of carvings that will be put into a museum that he's building on his land to store masks from all over the world. So that worked out pretty well for him. And I bought a bunch of totem poles and large pieces, and then built a Indian longhouse, a native longhouse on the top of my house, and filled it with his carvings. And then they come out here, and he came out here with 4 other people from his community, and they opened up the 3rd floor with dances and songs, and there's about 30 people here, and so that was ridiculously cool and completely unlikely and remarkable. And we went to a potlatch out in their territory, and all my family came, and my wife's family, and we had a really good day. And so that was magical, fundamentally. There's a big cultural gap, although I found myself quite comfortable with the people in his community because I grew up in a little town in northern Alberta, and in many ways the native people on that reserve in northern tip of Vancouver Island were kind of more like the people I grew up with than the people I associate with now. So I didn't find them foreign in any way particularly. They had really good senses of humor, which is something I've noticed about working class people. They have very well developed senses of humor frequently, and they're always teasing and making fun of each other. And I like that. I don't see that much among the intellectuals that I'm more likely to associate with now.